Hi, Jenni here, and this month I participated in Dua Lipa's book club read for the month of May. Dua Lipa founded this lifestyle brand platform a few years back called Service 95 out of her love for making lists and recommending restaurants, museums, books, music to her friends. And they started a newsletter where they share recommendations and articles about plethora of topics, and then they added a book club to their platform. And I've followed this book club quite closely, but I have not actively participated in it before. A couple of times I have read the books that were part of the book club, but not at the time that they were read because they were not available or some other reason. But I just thought that, you know what, let me see what the read for the month of May would be like. So the book of the month of May is Stillborn by Guadalupe Nettel, translated by Rosalind Harvey, and it tells the story of two best friends, Laura and Alina, and they are in their 30s. Laura is a PhD student and Alina is a gallerist, and both of them for a really long time bonded over the fact that they did not want children. However, after time apart, Alina had realized that she does want to become a mother and starts the work to get pregnant because her and her partner Aurelio have some fertility issues. And then she becomes pregnant. In other plot lines, we have Laura's neighbor, who is a single mother with a young boy, and she often hears the boy in distress yelling angrily at his mother, and one day she decides to help them out. The other timeline is also regarding Laura's relationship to her mother. The book is written in such an engaging, approachable language that while I was a bit intimidated to pick this up because of the topic matter, pregnancy, motherhood, those are topics that impact women's and everybody's lives so deeply that I was worried that maybe it would be too heavy. However, it was so human and easy to approach, linguistically very easy to understand and beautiful in its simplicity, if that makes sense. I really loved this book a lot. I was completely hooked, and usually a sign that book is very good is that if I talk about the plot and what has happened in the book to my fiancé Joel, and that's what I did with Stillborn. The only downside for me was the ending felt a bit rushed and a bit sudden, but in a way it showed kind of well, life goes on, this is how it's going to be. We are told and we are expected one thing, but then it's going to be completely other. So I am really happy I picked up this book for the Service 95 book club. I probably would have not read it otherwise, so I'm really happy that it was featured. I then watched Guadalupe Nettel's interview with Dua Lipa, and I thought it added so much to the book. The character of Alina is based on Guadalupe Nettel's friend, and the child that Alina has in the book is based on the daughter that she has in real life. So that was also an interesting perspective into the story and what was discussed in the interview. Okay, so other book that I've read from the Service 95 book club, 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. This follows two women in Afghanistan who are forced to marry the same man and how they form a sisterhood, and about women's situation in Afghanistan overall, and it broke my heart. It was amazing, and it was so interesting to kind of get back to the story and how the author built it when I watched the interview with Dua Lipa, because even though at that point it had been years since I had read it, but still my memory of the book and how amazing it was revived when I watched the great interview done by Dua Lipa with Khaled Hosseini. Another book that I read that was featured on Service 95 Book Club is Pachinko by Minjin Lee. And this one I read because it was featured in the book club, but I didn't have access to it at the time it was featured. But when I saw it at the bookstore, I was like, you know what? It was featured on Dua Lipa's book club. It must be good. And it really was. It tells the story of this Korean family who live under Japanese occupation in Korea and then later on in Japan. And this is an incredible book. I highly recommend it. It all starts with Sanja, kind of the matriarch of the family, when she becomes pregnant as a teenager. And it goes through 100 years of the family. And it taught me a lot about the Japanese occupation era in Korea. And it's just written so incredibly well. I love this book very much. And again, Min Jin Lee's interview with Dua Lipa added a lot to the story as well. I actually made a video when I read Pachinko way back when, where I talked about season 1 of the TV adaptation and this book. Then the last book that I've read that has been featured on Service 95 Book Club is On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vyong. And this was translated into Finnish by Tero Valkonen. And I had seen a lot of praise for this book, and the fact that it was featured on Dua Lipa's book club, I was like, intrigued by it, and maybe I should read it. I did like it. I thought it was interesting. This young man writes letters to his abusive mother with the nickname Little Dog, and he talks about Vietnam, being an immigrant, discovering that he is gay, having an absent father, like very deeply complicated and humane issues and topics, very deep and complex thoughts about identity and history and nation's identity and so on. And it was written in letter format. And yeah, I like this, I think, because I don't know if other people have this, but when I read books in my native language, which I read this one in Finnish, obviously, some of the linguistical decisions or translations just felt a bit weird to me. So at times I felt a bit off when reading this book, but I can see why people absolutely love this one. So as I was doing my reading for Stillborn by Guadalupe Nettel, I came across this video by one YouTuber discussing how he was surprised and he did not expect at all for Dua Lipa to actually care about books and the books that she has on her book club. I watched the whole video. He praises how great she is at conducting a literary interview and knows that maybe he shouldn't have been surprised that Dua Lipa is a great book interviewer, but then also says that it's warranted since she is a celebrity and a pop singer. In a way, I get that. However, I don't think it's fair, because if you even took 1 second to look at Dua Lipa's own personal history, you would understand that she is actually truly interested in literature and culture and understanding other people better. So if you don't know, Dua Lipa was born in London to Kosovar Albanian parents who were war refugees from Kosovo. And both of her grandfathers were historians. And Dua Lipa has talked about how being from Kosovo and having her parents being war refugees has impacted her views and her interests a lot. And I'm sure this is also very visible in her choice of literature and what she features in the book club. And Service 95, yes, it's a lifestyle platform and they offer products with affiliate links, yes, that can be seen as problematic. However, the topics that they discuss on the platform are really important and you know, legit journalism that is very necessary in the world we are right now. So I am subscribed to the Service 95 newsletter, and here's an example of what they discuss in one newsletter. So this came 27th of March this year, 2025. What endometriosis taught me about medical misogyny. So that's one of the topics, articles. It was written by Katarina Volkmer. Then they have always an introduction from Dua, and then they have articles such as Skateboard, Sisterhood and Transformation. Meet Iraq's first female skate community. Starved of Support, The Rising Crisis of Rohingya Refugees in Ramadan's Shadow by Rachel Hagen. How Losing My Mom as a Child Shaped Me, an Unbreakable Bond Between My Siblings and Me by Amanda Gunn. Like, this is very important journalism right now. So to just diminish it as some Goop-esque lifestyle affiliate link bait is very disappointing in my opinion. In conclusion, I would love to read more books from Dua Lipa's Service 95 book club. Her interviews are always so interesting, and I can't wait what books she will feature next. Okay, so that combined my two biggest loves and interests, pop girls and books. If you are interested in seeing more videos regarding these topics and culture and history and literature and anything that really interests me, subscribe to my channel. If you want to see book updates from me, go follow my Bookstagram account, jenskosmos. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye!